I call this meeting of the Harriman City Council, March 16th, 2021 to order. Before we get started, we'll have a prayer by Councilman Wright, followed by the pledge to the flag. Councilman Wright.
Would you bow and please? Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity we have again to meet and to conduct the business of our fellow city residents, and we ask that your Spirit will lead us and we will be able to discern and make good decisions that will be both pleasing to you and to our citizens. Father, we can't help but realize that the change in the seasons is coming as we see the beginning of the spring season, and it gives us a glimpse of your creation, and we're thankful for that. Father, be with those that our town that work to protect us and keep them safe, and we thank the families for their service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Brian Cross.
Here.
Buddy Holly.
Here.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Kenny Me.
Here.
Sam Russell.
Here.
Lonnie Wright.
Here.
Declare a quorum. A motion to approve the minutes of the March 2nd, 2021 meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second. Second, Councilman Holly. Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Councilman Holly. Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Cross.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Motion to pay the bills.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Wright, second. I'll second. Second, Councilman Frost. Councilman Wright.
Motion.
Councilman Frost. Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Cross.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. This time we'll hear from delegation. If you'd like to address this council, please stand and come to the podium and state your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Being nobody, we're going to reports. Fire department.
I think you guys got a copy of our monthly report. If you got any questions, I'll be glad to answer anything you got. That's all I got.
Nobody got anything for City Council?
No, nothing, guys.
Thank you. You got it.
Are you getting a car, or is it getting wrapped yet?
Yes, it's getting wrapped. It should be done first of next week.
So what is it going to be, new first responder?
Yes. We the new first responder vehicle.
Did you get that new response trailer wrapped already?
Got it wrapped. It's ready to go. We've been ordering some equipment for it, everything, but it's good to go. It's in service. Yes, sir.
Y'all just hired somebody?
We did. Marilyn Franklin. She'll be starting, I would say, within the next couple of weeks. She's going through her testing and everything right now, so yeah, she'll be starting a couple of weeks.
Any other questions for Chief? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Police department.
You all should have got our monthly report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Do I have anything for the chief?
Chief, thank you, all the guys.
I'm trying.
All right, thank you. City Treasurer, Dr. Carter.
As you know, we've been, I guess, with S&P, we've been going through an evaluation or a bond rating. considered, and they came out with a rating for the bond issue of HUD of A+. A+ rating. That's not the highest. The highest is AAA, and the next down is AA. So we're between A and no. That's pretty good rating.
What do we have prior to that, you know? Is it always known?
Well, we had, with a different rating agency, we were like, each agency has a different rating system. But we had a good rating prior to that evaluation. So we're holding our own pretty good.
Anybody have anything for Chief Treasurer? Taxes about completed? Is the taxes about completed, everybody paid?
Yeah, we've collected over 85%. We normally don't collect more than 95% this year. So we'll have some more critical in. So I don't expect us to do any different than we did last year.
All right, thanks, sir. City Manager?
The contracts for the first phase of construction on our building here have been signed, sent to USDA. We're in the process of scheduling a pre-construction meeting with the contractor. That's for the work that will be done to replace the roof and HVAC units. Additionally, the plans for phase 2, which is the interior remodel, have been submitted to the USDA for them to initiate their review, as well as submitted to the county for them to begin reviewing the plans as well, so that we can get their comments back, incorporate them into the plan, and get that part of the project out to bid as well. We hope that it will be a little bit shorter review period because we have been talking with USDA throughout this process, and they had seen the plans several times before we officially submitted them. But typically, they do say that it takes about 30 days for them to do the review and respond on that. I'd like to take a minute to thank the fire department for a couple of things that they've done to help out recently for some other departments. The recreation department was installing the drainage system that was needed for the splash pad where you backwash that system, and we had a culvert that was clogged up, and they came down and helped us get that open, and a couple of firefighters were down into the catch basin and trying to get that opened up for us, and we appreciate them doing that. Also, Assistant Chief Johnson has stepped up, and we've got a little event that we're doing tomorrow for, in conjunction with the library for their children's program. They'll be going over to the fire hall more than likely due to weather. We'll be doing it inside the bays. They're going to be providing lunch for the kids, getting hot dogs, and we'll be doing some other things associated with that. And then also we are looking at maybe doing our first May Day event, which will be an outdoors event. So we're starting the planning on that now, to have that here in the downtown area. I'll take questions.
Do I have anything for City Manager? All right, thanks, sir. We're going to new business. First item, discuss and possibly approve Morse code for energy savings program. Most of us have been in our workshop and talked to them. There's a lot of questions that was asked and answered. What this is us changing a lot of stuff out. on energy savings, which is street lights and things. In the proposal that you had from them, it's got the properties in the back of it that shows the properties that there's going to look at HVAC systems and things and changing that out. But I'll open the floor up for a motion to put on the floor to discuss.
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Howard. Councilman Johnson.
I don't have, I just would like to discuss it just a little bit more.
Councilman Howard. Floor is open for discussion. I think Brian is here from Frisco. He probably can answer about any question. You may want to come up to the podium if they ask anything. You want to just tell a little bit about what it is and then I can ask questions on that?
Sure, so I was here 2 weeks ago for the work session afterwards. Essentially what this approval would be, if you guys chose to move forward with it, would be to allow the RESCO to come in and do the engineering and development of all the individual pieces. We do see a couple of different pieces as part of this program. So it would be one street light, so we would have to go around doing an audit of all the street lights, get their condition, and work with HUD on that negotiation because it would be a transfer of assets from them to the city. But it also includes some improvements to building infrastructure and city buildings. We've got new lights that will be installed interior and exterior on all the buildings, some HVAC and controls upgrades in a number of the buildings. But it does not consider, we're not, I want you to think you're agreeing to do the project, it's simply allowing us to do that next step, which is evaluate, engineer, and develop. And we bring to you cost, savings, term, all those things before you can make an actual decision. But I'm happy to answer any questions about the process, about schedule, about the scope, or about our solution.
The only thing I would say to council, and I said it in the workshop, and I'll say it again, if you vote to approve this, I hope you're committed to moving forward because it costs you a lot of money to back out. So just know that, you know, and when I say a lot of money, it's a lot less to back out than it is to move forward sometimes. But from everything I've seen on it, the money we're going to save will pay for everything that we're doing, and I think that the ones that see in the workshop seen that. But if you've looked at the agreement, you also seen what it costs to back out. So I would hope if council moves forward, you move forward with the idea of continuing to go forward, because we're going to throw that money out and not move forward.
All right, I'll tell you what my concern would be. I wasn't here for the meeting and stuff with him, but just reading the way the contract was written, along with what you said about moving ahead, if you go along with this, if it comes back and it's going to be an upfront cost of whatever, then you got 60 days to decide if you want to move forward with it or they can invoice you the $95,000. Then, if you get this and that you should never move forward with it, you pay the $95,000. If you go and start doing those upgrades on your own, say like, hey, HUD, can you help us out to start on these, you know, have good whatever you haven't been working on, then it's going to turn into you owe more money because you could potentially be using your survey. So if you back out and pay $95,000 and say we just want to fix a bad area, and then we fix with LED fixtures that would be similar to what they've said, then you're in violation of that agreement, of that contract you signed with them by replacing all the lights that we've been talking about replacing already and a budget all the way down by the hotels and that kind of thing. And then we've had a few of these similar, I'm sure not doing the detail that they're going to do, but we've had those in the past, and then we ended up, I think we did one that was a little bit cheaper than that. quite, but it's been a while back, but it got down to a discussion, do you really want the LED lights? Because some people were talking about the difference in them with the output, as you know, on our street projects that we did, of the light, so. Yeah, it's a big step, I just say, yes, if you change the end, I mean, do we have any estimates on what it potentially could cost before the savings come high? If you change out the LED, you will save money. I mean, there will be a cost savings that we'll be able to show you and all of that. So you will need to be ready to move forward, so until you get that return back on the money, how much an estimate on what we're putting out, we look at that.
Sure. So let me take those one by one. So 60 days first. Part of the deliverable that we bring back is with the contract pricing. So we actually go out and get pricing from some contractors when we bid it out. The reason we have to do 60 days, and we can push it to 90 if you feel more comfortable with that, is because contractors can only make pricing good for so long, because construction material pricing changes, labor changes, resources change, and so there's only a finite amount of time that we can hold that go to contract price before we have to go out and redo the pricing and costing. So that's the first one. On the streetlights and kind of the scope items, we do have estimates of savings. So over the last 2 years, we've actually been here with engineers. We've done a number of utility analysis and cost estimations for how much this project would save and how much it would cost. We do have a good reasonable idea of how much we think it will cost. We think it's going to be around a $2 million project, and we think it will save upwards of $400,000 a year, or maybe between $300,000 and $400,000. So we do believe it is a very good project. We believe it is a cash flow positive project. We have really no concern about the cost exceeding the savings, unless there's something you guys ask us to include in the project that is a capital item with no return on investment or high return on investment. Oh, and the additional fee. So the $95,000 that we talked about is it's going to cost us slightly more than that to develop and engineer and bid everything. And so we try to get a reasonable number that's palatable for you guys, but still allows you to have enough skin in the game where we're not in this just to do a study, we're just to do engineering. We want to help you feel that we can improve the city, improve the infrastructure. The self-perform kind of fee that we talked about, it's really to protect our intellectual property and protect the workmanship that we put into our projects. Because again, if we just did these engineering studies, we'd just be a consulting engineer, and we charge you what we would charge for consulting engineering, architecture, civil engineering, all those things. We don't want to do just those studies. And so we don't want it to be where, and I'm not saying you guys would or the city would, but we have had cases where customers have said, we only want to use you guys for discounted engineering and we're going to back out afterwards. And so it's really just legal contractual protection from us for that happening. Obviously, I'll never figure if you guys choose not to move forward, then you change the light bulb, we're not going to come after you for, you know what I mean? It's not worth our time to come after you for those two pieces.
I will say this, I know Rockwood done this 2 or 3, 4 years ago, and I did call the mayor of Rockwood and talk to him about it, and he couldn't say enough good things about it, about how it was saving lots of money, more than what they anticipated saving, and it changed every light inside of Rockwood as far as street lights, over the LED, they put the heat and air systems in the buildings, they've done a lot of stuff, but he says one of the best moves they ever make. I know that the Roane County school system is fixing to do it. The city of Kingston is fixing to do it. So I think a lot of people are on for doing it. But as I said, the first part of this, my main concern is to make sure that, and when the results come back, we'll know more. What scared me, and this is one of the questions I asked yesterday, was, let's say that they go out and do this and they come back and say, okay, you're not going to have any savings. Well, that's not going to happen. because we're not going back at, there's no reason for us to do it. But the 95,000, when I seen that number, it was like, that's why I want to make sure this council is moving forward. If you're willing, just because you're going to spend $95,000, once you sign a contract, you're spending $95,000. There's no backing back. So I think it's a good thing. As I told you yesterday, I'd love to see every light in Harriman look the same instead of yellow, white, bright white. We've got every color in the world. I was expecting it to be more than the $2 million because I know what Rockwood's spending. But I think Rockwood must have a lot more streetlights than we had, so I was kind of surprised with the numbers. But I think it could be a good project. One of the questions is have we had our attorney look at the contract and give us advice? Is this legitimate? Is this, is the contract look good from the city standpoint?
The attorney has reviewed the contract. She was not familiar with as far as, like what we were asking for and what they were supposed to deliver. So she said she couldn't gauge that. And as far as the terminology within the contract, what it's binding us to, various clauses, she didn't have any concerns with regard to that. So if the fee is what both parties expect, if the deliverables are what both parties expect, then she's fine with the contract as presented. Though we did discuss yesterday during the workshop that if council does choose to move forward with this, that we do so contingent upon the clause being added to the contract that we could back out and not have to pay the fee if it was not a net positive cash flow for the project. So in other words, the project would have to be net positive cash flow for us to be in that position where we would have to choose to move forward or pay the $95,000 fee.
All right, how did this come about? Did we approach Noresco or did they approach us?
My understanding is the conversations were taking place initially with the prior mayor, and that was how I got involved with the process. And it's kind of developed since that point in time as far as identifying particular properties and scope of the project and what the project might look like. They came in and did the initial assessment of the facilities to get the estimates together and so forth. But as far as how the previous mayor and the rest of it got together, I can't answer that question. I was asked to step in Mayor Mason.
It was the team. Our response to the team
Well, I mean, and then bring the question is that something that should be like a bid? To take a proposal, because some people can see doing a contract like this as a way around going through your normal bid processing. If the city's not put it out there and requested it, then
I checked on that. It being a service, it's not a thing you do. You gonna answer that?
I'm happy to go into it. There's specific sections in Tennessee legislation for this type of project, so we are considered a professional service. And the reason we're considered a professional service is because we generally serve as the prime contractor, and all subcontractors actually report to us. So we subcontract and bid out in the individual pieces. So procurement laws are actually satisfied by the equipment and the subcontractors, but our services are considered professional services in the Tennessee section. And I'm happy to provide that legislation for you guys.
yeah, I'm okay. I'm just saying it is a way that, at the end of the day, paid $95,000 for that, you should be able to work it yourself now. And I think that's kind of the reason we looked at these in the past. It got into, it was pretty deep discussions we got into. We even had one company, I can't remember the name, that looked at changing out the traffic lights. And they could show X amount of time you'd save, and it could save emissions in the city, help the environment and all that. And they approached us. And anyway, somebody's got a question then. If I'm not, a few others were on here, they might have a little bit of recollection better than mine.
I did ask a question to the Rockwell mayor if they did a good job. The answer I got was no, because I did check with the other surrounding town that is doing it. I also checked with, I think we all have been one and done well. I did check with them. I haven't found anybody that's bid it because of the way it's set up. That doesn't mean you can't get it. Another question that I did ask was, can we use our own people being HEB to do the work instead of having contractors in here? Can we contract with that HEB? Keep the money local. And it can be that he has met with HEB and with Candace, and that can happen if they both are on the same page, whatever. But that was one of my concerns with running contractors, and if we can do it here, by letting them do it. Either way, you're going to pay for HEB to do their contract. I'd rather pay HEB than over the contract. So those questions was asked. And to be honest with you, I've been back and forth with this because I thought, well, when another city done it, I thought, man, no way I would spend that kind of money to do that one time. But as I said, these numbers are not usually what I thought they was going to be. And I think that from everything I've seen that you have showed us, it will pay itself back. And it has like a 6 month or 9 month before you start paying the first payment, because it gives you time to start recouping that money so it pays itself to where you don't take any money out of your budget. You want to explain that to
Sure. So the way it is generally funded and financed is we go through this kind of next step, the development and engineering phase. We bring back to you the scope of work with costs and savings. If you guys decide if it's a cash flow positive project, if it's savings exceeding the cost. If you guys move forward, all that cost simply rolls into the construction project and is paid for by the savings that are achieved. Now, if you guys decide not to move forward, or it's a negative cash flow project, simply shake hands and you pay the fee. If it's not a cash flow positive, you don't pay. But at the time before we implement the project, usually financing is obtained, and there is specialized financing for these types of projects. And the benefit of that specialized financing is it allows you to defer payments and pay in arrears. So you get all the way through construction, you get through a period of savings being achieved, which we guarantee those savings are being achieved before you have to pay any monies. So you really have, you mitigate the risk of taking money out of the budget until it is actually there to pay for the debt service. Does that make sense?
Also, staff has discussed the project with another company that does this type of work. And, this is the company that we felt comfortable bringing forward to you as far as the numbers go. And projections, they were pretty consistent between the two. So it would appear that if you're going to enter into a project like this, these numbers are pretty consistent with what the industry costs will be. But I do emphasize that if you do move forward with this, I think you need to do so with the intent that if there's a net positive that's coming back, that you're going to step two. If you don't plan on going to step two, then there's really no use entering into the agreement as it is today. So that's the most important thing of the whole proposal is if you have any questions about going to step two, really need to think about it more before you go into step one. But if you're committed to the project, to the energy savings, then I think the numbers presented are consistent with what you can see elsewhere.
I'll also say this, we can study forever and keep coming up with what's here. A question that I asked the city manager yesterday was, a lot of times we rely on him to research it and to direct that back to us as to what we found. I asked him yesterday, is this something that you would recommend to the council? Because at the end of the day, I would hold the city manager accountable when we go into agreements like this to be as to what he says they are. And I think your answer is yes, that you feel comfortable with this. That sounds about right.
Yes, again, that's it. Assuming you're committed to the full program and not just step one. And I also discussed it with Dr. Curley. He sat in on the presentation as well. I know if he had some thoughts he might want to share with you.
I think generally the concept has been proven for many years. I worked it when I was in the workforce as long as the same as privatization. That's a different subject. But it can work and it does work. And as I indicated, there's no free lunch. We get savings, but somebody else loses, All in all, I hope it works out so that everybody is basically a gainer, particularly with respect to your local business. And I think it would be I think it comes down to verifying exactly what the savings are, and then comparing that to what we've been paying, and look at things that change that picture over time. If this is like a 5 to 8 year project, completion time, I don't know what we were guessing there, but it could be that long. You have to change it in both the efficiency of equipment that's put into places, efficiency of the light bulbs, and over time, you build in that efficiency anyway. But this gives you an opportunity to do it up front, even though you may be paying a little bit more, say, for a lead bulb today than you will be in the future. You're still saving that money and it pays off that investment, which in the long term is a good thing for the city. As long as you're reducing the cost of lighting, particularly. And the HVAC system, they continue to improve. And so the savings are there. If they're monitored properly as probably you discussed, they're sized properly, all the things that come in and make it work have to be finely tuned by engineering spec. So I'm familiar with the process and concept, and it does produce savings.
I was able to attend both meetings yesterday. And like you, the 95,000 cotton, I think they call it the backup fee. We had quite a discussion on that. And you know, we got to realize there's a lot of studies to be made, engineering studies and things of that sort. So they're going to be out a lot of money. We'll see how we will be compensated if someone backed out. But another thing that I think I heard, I wanted to hear, and that was that the mayor felt comfortable with this proposal and Dr. Curley and the city manager. And the only other part was the return. That was the part that and I'm not saying that I'm suspect of anything, it's just that on contracts, I like to return, experience the return, look at it for a while. And, but anyway, if we want to do something like this, it probably behooves us to do it now because I think the interest rates will go up. And since we're going to have to borrow money, it will cost more in the future if you want to look at it that way. So, if all the parties are together, then I'm told.
Time frame.
So we would do, if it were approved tonight, we would likely have kind of a kickoff within the next 2 weeks, within a 2-week period where we would map out when we would be on site, when engineers would be here, making sure we cover health protocol, safety protocol, all those things, and start identifying kind of discussions that need to happen with Hub. This next step I would expect to take somewhere between 4 and 6 months, is my guess, before we can bring back to you full cost, full savings, and scope of work.
So you're saying maybe within 6 months, we'll know what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
After that, how long does it usually take if they move forward?
Once approval, if the scope is approved and the next step, the contract is approved, construction is typically anywhere from 6 to 12 months. I would expect it not to take 12 months here. I would expect it to be more in the 6 to 9 month range with replacing some of these streetlights and doing. The streetlights is really the biggest piece because we're literally taking a bucket truck to every single pole in the city. So I would expect 6 to 9 months.
When I first looked at this years ago, I think our light, electricity bill for this light per month was $18,000. And I thought, wow. Because I knew what we paid kids on the top. We had more lights than they did here. It wasn't $18,000. And we didn't get a discount rate for TPA either. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead. The 2 points I will make, we're going to do this anyway. We can either do it this way, which makes me feel more comfortable because it gets studied, it gets engineered, and it's not piecemeal. If we do like we've been doing in the past, we just fix them as a break, you know. We go around and we fix that one, or we change this one to an LED, or we do. I know they came down my alley and the light went out. Of course, it doesn't serve the end of my alley, but it is there. But it serves Georgia Street, and they came down there and fixed it right away. But they put an LED in. And like I said, we're going to either do it piecemeal on our own. It's going to be kind of half-assed. It's not going to be a comprehensive study tonight. It's just going to be, unless you want to pay. I got a friend that's got an engineering company. You have to come down here and do a study for you, but he ain't cheap. And so, you know, it's just, that's one of those sort of the other thing that really got me was there's a risk in any project you do. There's a risk in everything you do. When you get required to drive down this meeting, there's a risk. I mean, but what are the benefits? You have to weigh the risk versus the benefits. And if we can cut, well, when we were doing that work at Oak Ridge, and Charles was doing it, and I was involved in it, and we had an 80% reduction in our energy costs. And just like, if you don't think that's significant, like I said the other night, over in steam plant's gonna be disassembled, going in, and it was just built to service us. But they don't need it anymore, because we've cut so much energy use at the lab, at Y12, and at K25, what's left of K25, that they don't need the boiler and steam plant. So they're gonna take it out of service. I'd like to see us take some of the steam plants. Yes,
One other thing, before we move on, the other council, my leadership, I think they're hard enough, the impact might have on H&B. And I invited the general manager, and she did come, and I felt like she got all the questions and made comments that were very positive about it. Being able to work through this situation if the city decides to go this way.
So how is she going to recover the money? Rates go up? That's the,
Well, we have to purchase the light system.
and they won't be selling as much power, those won't get that, so then they're short money
And also, the fact that they'll be doing probably as much work as they can on this process with the number of people who died.
Plus, you mentioned they probably get the maintenance, they'll be doing the maintenance on it.
So there's three things that will happen. They do, but I do want you to understand, they only buy the amount of power that they need from TV. So that there is some decrease, but I don't think it's a negligible decrease in the scheme of things. There is a lump sum that they would receive on the front end for the asset transfer, so they would be compensated for the assets. We do recommend as part of all of our projects that the utility company keep a maintenance contract. So hard pipe paid out of the savings that are generated from it would be a per pole, per month maintenance contract that would we work with HEB on. And then as we discussed, I don't see any reason why we couldn't contract some of the replacement or all of the replacement out to them if they have the capacity and resources to do it from a change out standpoint. So I think there's three ways. They do lose some revenue, but I think there's three other ways that they gain financially.
Then you'll be cutting that big check to also.
So
But that check only lasts so long, and these lights will last longer than other lights, so. And that I understand that they only buy so much power from PVA, I understand that totally. But their bills and their employees stay there, so you still got your bills to pay. So most people, utilities are just like that, is you base what you spend on what you make. You start making less, and then like Buddy said, if it was $18,000 a month, and we've been replaced them since then, so $216,000 that we're spending. So how you gonna say $400,000 a year?
So you spend over $400,000 on streetlights alone. So the streetlights alone are over $400,000. So we do believe there's substantial savings in the streetlights. But
That's where all your savings will be from the street.
But sure,
There's no need to, I mean, we're getting ready to get new HVAC. Surely we'll go with an efficient unit. I don't think we'll go buy something that's not. So some of the stuff we've already done is my only point in all this. And yeah, whether you call it piecemeal or we get along on paper, the advantage of going with them is they wait till you start getting what will be your savings from it before you start paying.
You know, Candace, when we were talking to her, the other day, she said, yeah, I'm gonna be, it'll impress us just to do the installation, so we only have 11 months.
And then they won't be getting any money back from putting it in. I mean, you look at everything, we look at it. I read that email and I saw which, yeah, we wouldn't be able to support it, so yeah. So make sure you don't base it on thinking they're gonna get part of the work or any work, because they're not gonna be able to handle it with the amount of people that have there. That's all.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other questions? You still good with your motion? Yes. You still good with your second? Yes. Call roll, please.
Brian Cross,
Yes.
Buddy Holly,
Yes.
Shane Johnson,
Yes.
Kenny Me,
No.
Sam Russell,
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve proposal to begin accepting credit card payments. Motion to approve to get this on the floor.
I'll make a motion.
Motion for Councilman Johnson, second. Second for Councilman Johnson.
I think we really need it. I mean, it's way past time we've had it. It's all I've got.
Councilman Lee. Floor is open for discussion. We have talked about this, been talking about it for a little while. Some of the council have got together and looked at some stuff. We had a workshop on it. We have asked Dr. Curley and Ms. Teresa to look into it to see what works for their system. And I'll let Dr. Curley talk about what they found. I think they're still staying with the same program that the councilman had deferred also, but I'll let you.
Yes, we had basically two options. We could have put something in like we have in all courts. It's an on-site payment credit card system. The other option is to have online payments. And they're integrated with our software, so we can pay the bill online and register with the software and give credit for paying the bill on our system, so you don't have to do it manually. What I did, I discussed this, several contacts at local government. I talked to Tommy Lee Kidd, Mike Connors, and Keith Johnson, and I gave you the packet, kind of an overview. Some of the details we talked about wouldn't really be good fodder for discussion here because they're details that you have to know as a program. So, but I talked with Tommy Lee Kidd about the hardware, and it looks like we could use our 2018 upgrade for adding a credit card and online payment. There was thought about buying an older system, and since we upgraded in 2018, our server and workstation will work fine for that. We will be adding some credit card readers, but all in all, we will not be investing in hardware that we thought we The big question I had was, will the property tax now that we now have on FlexGen be portable over to next gen? And they say it will be. There won't be any problem with that, so that's good. I asked them about police software that we're using now and business license credit card payment, where they could be integrated into the payment system, and they said no, not at this time. So we would be still standalone with respect to city business, apart from the police activity software, and the business license was not even ready yet for payment online. The SQL software that that runs the whole thing, I asked if it had to be upgraded, and they said, yes, it does. So that's the cost. Mike Connors, I talked with programming software. I asked him how long FlexGen would be supported. He says there's no plan to abandon support for FlexGen, and they expect to be around for a long time. So that's good in a transition period to have that ability to continue to use FlexGen. So that's a good thing. The thing I didn't care too much for was they said that the online payments, we might see 15 days, 5 days on average before it goes into the bank. That will mess up the way we do bank reconciliation. But I think I can handle it. We'll just have to do some new templates to accomplish that. And I guess what I was curious about is whether or not the Microsoft Office suite has been expanded in the system itself to better allow us to use it. Right now, there are only certain things you can use it for. You can do a PDF for some things, but not for other things. I hope it's more broadly applicable now to the Microsoft Office software. And the only way to tell is put it on the side and see how it works. Talk to Heath Johnson about templates. FlexGen has templates both for county and the city, and they're intermingled. And so you may go through there, for example, pick the balance sheet, pops up in Word. So both I pick the wrong balance sheet line item. What you have to do, which I've done, is I've created favorites that allow us to generate the reports that we need. But all that information in there about county business, I think should be taken out, and I hope it's taken out, or at least modified in the way it's handled now. The only way is to take a look and see. So the templates wouldn't necessarily be changed that we use to do our accounting with, and that's what involves some work on my part, and possibly Bruce's part. But yeah, the last thing I did was I went to Stewart County's website, and they have a little button up there that you can click on, and you can go ahead and pay a bill. And so I picked a property tax that wasn't paid, and I worked through it like I was going to pay it. I found it to be pretty busy. It asked for a lot of personal information. I don't know if we would have that on our system just that way, but I was able to work through it very easily. And I just backed out and I didn't pay the bill. Not ready to pay somebody's bill in Stewart County, but
The way you look at your checking account, you probably paid it.
That was not a bill, though.
My basic recommendation is, I think we ought to go with a system that upgrades the FlexGen for property tax, as well as the other account payable and payroll additionally. Right now, I'm not recommending that we do away with FlexGen and we keep it and allow it to be used while staff is learning to use the next-gen software. The good thing about local government is they have good talented people and they have excellent support for our system. And we seldom have to call and wait long before they get back to us. And that's a plus for the software itself. So I basically recommend that the committee's recommendation that they brought forward earlier be accepted. payable, we might delay that, move over to it until our staff members are well acquainted with next year model. That's just a summary, might not be brief enough, but I didn't want to go into any detail or details of some of the things that we talked about. But all in all, I think it's a good idea to work in that way and add the credit card function to our
Let me ask you a question in that talk. So the credit card system that we are going to will only take taxes. You can't pay citations to the police department with it or business license.
That's what I asked. They said, no, not at this time, but eventually it could. So we would not be moving away from that software package, which is different than ours.
But the only problem I see with it is you're changing systems to take a credit card for property tax that happens 2 to 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Whereas police citations are all the time and business license, things like that. I wish there was a program that we could do it all at the same time. But
He says they're working on it, but it took them some time to put a credit card function in there. Local government software is the most unfriendly software you'll ever use, because it actually needs another layer on top that lets you tell it what you want, and then it drops down to the next layer and pulls that information to a user-friendly environment. You love to hate it, in other words. It has all the elements that a programmer would like to have in a system, but hardly any of them can program. So it's got a lot of learning associated with it.
any discussion from council?
We're approving the
Local government
dollar
emergency.
amount, just go.
What is the dollar amount? Do we know?
I don't know the dollar amount now because they haven't worked it out, but it'll take some things away and add some things. The software itself will add probably anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 for our annual bill. Now, we'll have to buy some hardware, which is not priced yet.
On the price, when would we know the price? Should it be something that, and I guess I'm asking the council and you the question, I understand at local government, I think it's next gen is what we've been moving to.
We have next gen now.
So you can be moving.
I brought it in when I came here.
So what you're moving to?
We're moving to an upgrade
Just an upgrade next gen, okay.
pay with a module that takes credit cards. And that requires the whole system to be upgraded.
I guess the thing is, well, I guess you're asking the councilman, you approve something, you don't know what the price is, what you're
Well,
approving.
yeah, I didn't know, I mean, we don't know.
Right.
I could,
And I guess another thing, where I'm confused a little bit, with this being a service, does council approve every time we have to do an upgrade? Like an upgrade on this with the council, would we be?
we normally build it into the budget
Yeah.
when we do an upgrade.
You need another time for it, I know, before you use it, pay other stuff too. But first,
I was just, I mean, I'm sitting here and I was thinking, and this is not nothing for that, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna spend $10,000 to do the credit card, we're gonna get the taxes off of it, you can't use it for anything else. If they could have it other modules fixed, if they
Well,
were
they've been working on it for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's probably within the last 2 years, they've really taken it out of the field and brought it in as part of the service. Now, as I said, we can do a standalone credit card at the county.
Well, and I don't know exactly how much the police department, people come here and pay bills, for a ticket or citation. I think you're still running the same thing. People are, checks are just about obsolete. Anybody carrying a checkbook, I went to the grocery store the other day, my lady in front of me, she said, I want to use this check. You know, and I thought, oh, Lord. And, you know, but just in writing a check, it's just like, you don't see that anymore. So the only way we have here is by check or by cash. And I think that, you know, I noticed a big problem during taxes. People had to come in and would have to say, we don't take a card, you gotta go to the teller, get money out. And I heard people complain. But I think the same thing would be with the police and with business license. Anything that you do with the city as far as business that you gotta use money, to me, there's no difference in taxes and business license or police citations or code violations. Anything you gotta pay for, to me, everybody use a card to use to do it because most people don't have checks anymore. So I guess that's why I'm a little confused. I was thinking this thing would go to, you can pay anything with the city. You know, if I come through and I get a ticket and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm not driving back there and pay a ticket. I go online and pay my ticket. I think that's what most people do. So that's where I was kind of confused. It seems like the software is just so still far outdated that it can't accept that.
When I went to Stewart County, they only had one option in their property tax. They didn't have a fine or anything like that. He told me they were working on it, and how soon they might have that capability, I don't know. It would be another cost of having. The other option, there is a third option, and that would go with a entirely different vendor, which would require some, updating of how we do things. If you went with a vendor that gave you that capability, it would not interface with our software.
And I think both councilmen that looked at it was, I think they both, the way I understand it, in the state of local government, because it's what we have now, and the interfaces of what we're doing. I think that's exactly correct, Councilman.
I believe when I priced it, the price was like $6,700 for the software and $300 for the credit card machine.
What's the name of that?
That's local.
Now, the way I understood it was like 6 to 18 months when they would come out with the other module. I don't know that for sure because I've not read the proposal anymore.
If we're 85% collected right now, and that's the only thing it's gonna do, we need to do it or give them a few months to see if it gets like Sam said, because that's November and that even that stuff you got, the pricing.
I think it's on email. I think the idea was if we went ahead and did it now, they would start transitioning into it before their the next tax time.
Give them time to understand the program and work it.
Business license payments now, payments due are paid to the state. So basically what you do on this license is issue an initial license, costs $15. And it's not like we were doing, we did all that in-house. So now the customer, license holder, pays to the state where
About personal property, you know, we have to pay that here, does this cover, can you use credit card on personal property?
Yes,
So any kind of property, whether it's personal or,
yeah, personal real,
and that's probably what I understood.
you can take all of it.
So what was the issue you said with just getting a credit card or your restaurant like it out?
Well, so we got
Just to have a credit card reader up front, not set it up right now where you do online with maybe.
you could do that, you could have a separate, counter, reader that would, basically post to the bank account. And I have to reconcile that together. I have to be sure that it's in the county system. There would probably be a nightmare with property tax. Meaning that if you had a counter and you had a tremendous number of people who use credit card on the counter, that money would go into the bank account. It would not be going into the accounting system. I would have to do that manually. And I'd have to do it at the end of the month when I do bank reconciliation. So, for example, in the golf course, I've been working 15 to 20 entries. But it's not that hard to do because I started putting them in as a package. And that's not used to it. I used to put some for each day that it occurred. But our auditors didn't get any problem with putting them in this time. The whole package. That works pretty good. That could work. Same way property tax, except you could have increased tax and short activity account. So that would be a little bit of a problem. But it's doable. It's the way to go.
Any other questions?
Could we approve, what's doable right now? I think you mentioned something like 7,000 or something,
I think that's what it was. It's been-
or some figure, Charles, could we do that?
That would be the software upgrade, would be an additional amount per year on that contract. We'll have to buy additional hardware, but not the amount that was originally proposed. And I could have to work up a cost estimate for the hardware. Because what they proposed earlier was a total U7. And, our server is only 2 years old. A little over 2 years old.
And I think the thing is, with any software, as we all know, you got to keep updates, you got to keep doing updates, it's just part of it. And I think from what I hear, that's basically what this is it's just updating it, to add more stuff on it, there's going to be more stuff coming.
Well, it's a support cost.
That's going to come with.
We can pick up the phone and call with a problem, and that's what you're paying for in the support cost.
Any other discussion? There's a motion on the floor to upgrade the next gen of local government to accept credit cards for the property tax, for taxes.
Dr. Crowley, did they give you any idea on how long it take to get that other stuff going where you can pay other things?
How long it takes to do it?
I mean, do they tell you about how long, far out it would be before they can have that available to use it?
Oh, I can call and ask him, but, they don't normally give you, because what they do, they go to the field and try it out with a few people who implement it, work out the bugs before they bring it back to you and involve components add on.
Okay.
That's what they did with this regulatory option.
Any other discussion? What are we voting on? You're voting on to upgrade the next gen, the local government to accept credit cards for the taxes.
Should we set an up to amount?
I mean, you could say up to $10,000, not to exceed $10,000. My biggest thing, the reason I didn't say amount, because as everyone here knows, if it's too much, Dr. Curley's probably not going to do it anyway, because he's going to watch the money figure. So I was feeling confident that he's going to make sure it's the lowest it can be, but you can set a dollar figure, I would say not to exceed $10,000.
What I don't know is the hardware cost. That, you know, there will be a couple of readers and then some other scanner readers that will have to be bought on board. And so I don't know what the hardware cost will be, but all I know is not going to be packaged there.
You go for better, hold it off till we get a figure.
I mean, because that's, you know, there's no telling what that stuff costs. It may not be that bad, but you don't know.
We made a motion.
If you want me to continue to inquire, I will.
You send your motion? You send your second? Motion and second has been rescinded. We'll hold off until next month if you can try to find some information out on the cost of what the machine, software updates and stuff. Figure that it's going to cost us to switch over.
Okay, I'll continue to inquire about other products as well. I have to work it in next activity. So that'll be in that time.
Well, and as Councilman Lee had said, we've got 85% of the taxes. The big bulk has came in. So we've probably got a little time to do some research, look, and make sure. But as Councilman Russell said, we don't want to wait till the tax season next season and say, okay, we're going to do this. This is something we need to get done so everybody can figure out how the system works before we get started.
Yeah, this is a period of time that we want to
Okay. So we'll move that to the next meeting, and we'll check with Dr. and see where he's at with it.
take like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, but if it's, if in that meeting, you can just update us where we're at. If you're ready for us to move forward, we can move forward. Does that sound good?
I could get some time frames too. I had a question on how long you think it might be, and I'll ask them again.
Okay. You may have to get with Trish and find out what I would say, because I'm kind of, we talk a lot. All right, next item. If it's out of council, I'd like to hold off on this until the next meeting. Haven't had a late change in it, so I'm going to hold off on that, and we'll discuss it next meeting. So that's all that is on the agenda. A couple of things before we get into council remarks. I want you all to be aware of, I think the city manager has sent out emails talking about a lease on the old police department. Everybody, you all have a copy of the lease. The lease was drawn up by our city attorney. So the attorney has looked at it and she drew it up based on what we asked her to do. But I'd like you to look at it, see if you want any changes done to the stuff. I have met with Mid-East. I met with Mid-East last week, and they have already approved taking the building, waiting on us to sign the lease. And so I was going to do it tonight, but I want you all to have plenty of time to look at it and make sure that you're good with it on where it stands. But he did say that it would probably take about a year and a half to move all of our programs into that building. The main thing that I think we was looking at was a senior center, an active senior center, and that was one of the main things they're looking at also. They're gonna have to build a kitchen in there and do some stuff, but I think their plans are the same as our plans, and that being the senior center in there. So look at that, that'll be on the agenda next time. Also, as you all know, the city attorney's duties as our city attorney ends at the end of this month. Kevin, is that correct, or is it over? End of this month. He has sent out an RFP for y'all to look at. So if we're looking at that, I think that you all should go ahead and respond to Kevin and let him go ahead and send that out, start taking applications, and then you all set up the interviews and interview. We can't go too long without a city attorney. There's been a lot of questions tonight that did the attorney look at it, have we had it, so it may be one of those things that we may have to put an attorney on retainer until we get a city attorney in place. But read over it. There's a lot to it. One of the things that I asked the city manager to put in and make sure that it was somebody that is preferably that they have done this before. We kind of, anyway, look at it and respond to the city manager as soon as you can on that or email so he can go ahead and get that sent out. Council remarks. Councilman Meade.
No, sir.
Councilman Howell. Councilman Frost.
No, sir.
No, Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Councilman Russell. I don't have anything except for, as the city manager said, there's going to be a lot going on. We're trying to plan a busy summer, hoping that this COVID is moved out of here. And I will tell you again, behind Mr. Evans over here, there's a machine that's running that was brought in today. It's supposed to kill 99.9% of COVID, any viruses, things like that. So I've got it set up in here running. I asked the gentleman, do we have to wear masks? And he said, I can't tell you not to because legally we can't do that. But I can tell you, after you cut it on, within 3 minutes of it being on, it kills it dead on surfaces and in the air. So I feel good being in here tonight that I'm not that concerned. We are looking at some of those to put inside the building, so they will run. They made it was produced through NASA, so it's one of the only ones like in the country. I've done a little research on it. I sent it to Kevin the other day to look at it. I think it's a good system. It's not that expensive. So maybe we can get some of these put in our building so we don't have to go spraying every day and this and that. This thing would do that. So other than that, you're going to be what tomorrow? Kevin will be a leprechaun, so if you want to come and make a wish, come on by. I'm sure he'll look cute in it, so just come on. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed, like sign.